All right, on to the last part of the modeling toolkit. So now we're going to come down here to the bottom of the modeling toolkit, and we have this thing called tools. So tools are a little different. They'll let us actually do some kind of things on the surface of the polygon cube. So the first one we're going to get into is the multi-cut. Multi-cut, the first way to demo it is, let me give some more subdivisions here. So we'll add some divisions. Oops, I want to be in object mode. All right, so I'm going to give it 2 sets of divisions here. Okay, so there we go. So multi-cut is basically does what it says. It's going to actually cut. It'll cut. Like sometimes you'll have an object and you want to actually add a polygon line along the actual object. Okay, so then what you'll do is you'll get into the multi-cut tool, and then it'll let you literally cut polygons into the object here. Okay, so you've done that. You cut it across there. You hit enter. This is not exactly a cut I would normally want to make, but this is just to kind of demo the point here. So now if I went to faces, remember I discussed triangles before, like now we have triangles in here. Okay, now you might want to have a line that goes across the object or do something different. In fact, that's what I'm going to get to next. So I'm going to undo all of these here. So now you might want to add in what they call edge loops. We discussed that a little bit earlier. An edge loop in here at a very specific place. I don't know if you remember when I showed you kind of like doing an edge, softening an edge. You might want to have a loop right there, or you might want to have a loop through here. So there's a way to do that with this. Up here in tools, there is a tool here called insert edge loop. So I'll show you this one first. So when we go here, this just puts a line right in wherever you want. Okay, if you want here, you want there, you want there. This is a super powerful tool, and you're going to be using this tool a lot. As I mentioned before, you'll be using edge loops, and that's the actual edge loop tool. You can also access it through multi-cut, which I'm going to show you in a second, and you're going to be using extrude a lot. Those are really key tools, and the rest of it of soft selecting and moving around polygons. Some modelers, that's all they do. It's just that, okay? All right, so I'm going to clear all this stuff out. I'm going to show you how to do that edge loop from the multi-cut tool. So again, the insert edge loop tool is up here. This also has a dialog box. I don't want to get into this right now because there's some special things in here that you can actually do. And you'll use those when you get into some more complex modeling, and we'll have more advanced modeling lessons later on. Okay, so, but we can get into the multi-cut tool here as well. And then if we go in, and if I hit the control key, if you just mouse over it and you use the control key, it allows you to make these very linear cuts around the object. Okay. So this takes a little while to get used to. You'll have to get used to all this stuff, and when you first start with the stuff, don't worry about it. It's gonna be a little tricky to understand at first, but when you first start doing a lot of this modeling stuff, you'll probably just be adding divisions and just moving points around, and that's all we need to do right now. Adding divisions, and later on do a smoothly, and you've actually got your object in its final form. Okay, but I'm gonna get out of these right now. But you can also do this as well with the multi-cut. You can be hitting the control key, so you're going through, but instead of using your left mouse button to finalize it, if you click with your mid mouse button, it will put a line right in the middle of the object. Okay. And then each subdivision, it allows you to, it'll find the midpoint there. Okay. So like I said, don't get too worried about this stuff. This is when you start getting to more advanced modeling. You'll want this kind of fine control on things. But if you notice, this looks a lot like when we do subdivides. Okay. Now you might want to, like, it's just if you want to have real precision modeling. So that's the multi-cut tool, which is, like as I said, very, very useful. Let me get out of some of this stuff here. We're not going to get into quad draw in this one because that pertains more to when you bring in high resolution models and you want to draw polygons on something. But we will do, I'll do a little bit of connect. Connect isn't a tool I actually use much of. I don't find it all that useful, but I'll show it to you here. Okay, so now connect would be the way you would start connect. We'd get into the connect tool. All right, so we need to connect some segments. So I found this methodology tends to work pretty well. So basically getting a connect tool, you pick by face, you can pick by edge. I just found face makes it a little more clean. Oops, I didn't hit enter. Okay, if you hit enter at the end, always remember to enter, like I just did not do. Okay, so there you go. So that'll just about draw a line on things here in a different kind of way. But you don't want to have a hanging line like this, so you'll have to figure that out later. So this is stuff you'll have to clean up, and I'll go over methodologies for cleaning up models later. Okay, so I'm gonna get out of all these things here. Okay, so we got back to our regular cube here, object mode. All right, so the last thing I'm going to show here is target weld. So target weld has some uses. There's a few different ways to do this, the system I'm going to show you, but since I've been focusing on the modeling toolkit today, I'm going to just show you that right now so you can access it when you're in here. So I have another layer, so I'm going to switch off this layer with this single cube. And I have the double cubes. Remember from some of the lessons from bridging. This is very similar to bridging. So, but this is bridging, but instead of using an edge, it uses a vertex. So you'll see in a minute how this all works. Okay, so I'll go back to modeling toolkit. So again, I have two objects here. So always remember, when you have two objects and you want to start using the polygon modeling toolkit, you have to merge them into one object, or you combine them into one object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick on both. I'm going to hit combine. Okay. So now they're combined. So now when I pick on one, it's the whole object. Okay. So now when I go to target weld is a little tricky to get used to when you first use it. But what you do is you go to target weld. Okay. And then it wants to find a vertex. So the first thing is you click on a vertex, but then you have to kind of go across. It's kind of weird. You don't really have a visual display. So go across to the vertex you want to go to. Okay. So now what that did was it pulled these two vertices together. Okay. Because let me show you. Like when we, when these are separate, these vertices function independently. They'll just do whatever they want. Okay. So you don't want too much of this stuff going on because you're going to get things all crazy. Okay. Now over here, though, they're functioning as one, okay, because they've been target welded, they've been merged, okay. So now I'll go back to the target weld tool, and this tool is very powerful, but as you can see, it could be kind of tedious. Like if you have a lot of these polygons, it could take a while to sew something together. But unfortunately, you may have to do that because polygon modeling can get very meticulous and a little tedious. Because there's a lot of this kind of stuff. But once you get into it, you get into rhythm and everything goes really well. And you can make some amazing models with just all these polygon tools I've been showing. Okay, so then let's get back here. I'll switch this off. Oh, it's now, as you see, it's not on that layer anymore, just as we've done before. So now I have to pick it. Let me get back to that layer. Yeah, always remember that stuff too. After you've done a lot of the combining. Once you do combining, as you notice, you have to do a bunch of cleanup here. But I'll switch back on our original polygon and we will leave off there. So we'll go back to the polygon modeling toolkit. And here we go. So now we've gone over pretty much every one of these tools in here. And yeah, they're really powerful and you can do a lot. And once you get used to these, we'll spend some time just making models with all of these tools here. And then later we'll get into some more deeper stuff in some of these pull downs. But you can pretty much, once you get the hang of all this stuff and you have your view controls and the scenes and you can save out a file and rename things, you're pretty much good to go for all the basics of modeling. And we spend a lot of time on the image plane stuff, which sometimes is a little tricky for students at first, but later when you want to start making precision models, laying in some of those image planes and just pulling around polygon points will make life go really smooth and you'll make some excellent models. All right, on to some great modeling.